Hey, I'm Wendy. This is my series, Love, Loss, and Lipstick. I record live on Wednesdays on Facebook while I'm getting ready for work, and then I move it over to my YouTube channel because Facebook will delete my live after 30 days. And my channel is Wendy Angus. So I'm just gonna put my makeup on, get ready to go to work today. Tell you the next chapter. This is 18. I believe. I've been saying the wrong numbers and I don't even realize it until I put it on YouTube and I see what the week before was. But so it was September 1994. I got to Nashville in May. Yeah, 94. Sorry. I got to Nashville in May, and so now it was September. Spent the summer. Started going back and forth to California to work. I was going every 6 weeks. I had pretty much the same clients every 6 weeks. They could reschedule, and so I knew that I would have full days and I'd be able to pay for my trip, make some extra money, see my family, see my friends. Marin would get to see her people, and it was working out really well. Steve was totally supportive. And my work here in Nashville, they were really great about it too, that I was taking a week off every 6 weeks. It was a rental salon, except for in the very beginning, they would work it out to either commission or rental, depending on how I made the most money. It was super fair. It was really great. So that was working out nice. The last time that Marin and I went back, just in the September time frame, I took her to the LA County Fair. That was something that we did the prior year. And that was really fun, and just did all of our regular California things. Went to the beach, did all the good stuff. I mentioned last week that after my friend from the salon in California came to visit with her husband and I wasn't feeling well, and Steve's like, do you need to take a pregnancy test? Which I didn't really need to take a test because I knew. I knew from just how I felt. And I was terrified. But he's like, take the damn test. So he went and bought a test, and sure enough, I took it and it was positive, and he was so excited. And I was terrified. I'm like, how are we gonna do this? Didn't have any health insurance, didn't have any money, didn't have a doctor, just started working my new job, so it wasn't, like I was making a bunch of money. I really liked going back and forth to California. How would I keep doing that? And Steve was working, but not a lot. But, what can you do? It is what it is. My mom was super excited. And I think I probably was crying to her about it. And she's like, this is a blessing. This is a blessing. Like, she probably, if she was with me, she probably would have slapped me or, wished that she could. I was really being an idiot. So yes, it was a blessing. All the things. But I was feeling really, really good. And so I was going to continue to fly back and forth as long as I could, being pregnant. And Steve got a call from this producer in town. He's like, hey, I heard some young hotshot director who just moved here from California. And he wanted to hire him. He was doing a Christian music award show, and he was hiring Steve to do some mini music video style segments that would be inserted into the big show. They were going to be doing it at Walt Disney World. And Steve's like, seriously, I'm not working for Disney ever again. But thank goodness it wasn't working for Disney. It was just working at Disney. So he's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So he was gonna be off to Florida. And that started a really nice relationship between him and this guy whose name was Steve Gilreath. So, I don't know why that makes me emotional, but so we were living our life, doing our thing, being pregnant. I needed to find a doctor. And that's what scared me the most, was like, how are we going to pay to have a baby? And so I asked the girls that I worked with if they had anybody they would recommend. I asked my next door neighbor, my friend Regina, if there was anybody that she would recommend. And I got like 3 names I was going to go have consultations with. And it was really interesting because I was calling to set up appointments for a consultation. And these people were like, you want what? I'm like, I just want to, meet the doctor and talk to her and, ask some questions. And they thought that was really foreign. I'm like, do people not do consultations here when you're looking for a doctor? So they're like, so you don't want an examination? I'm like, no. I just want to talk. So the first one I went to, I just wasn't feeling it. The second one I went to, it was kind of funny because she had a portrait of her twins on her office wall that later I would find out Marin would grow up with and be friends with. And so I chatted with her. She was very nice, and I did like her, but I had one more appointment that I wanted to go to. My friend Regina next door suggested I go to where she goes, and it was downtown in Nashville. The others were here in Hendersonville where I live, and this one was downtown at one of the big hospitals. Her doctor wasn't taking new patients, but her associate, the newer doctor, was. And her name was Dr. Schlechter. And so I went for my consultation with her, and I was sitting in her office. She came in to talk to me. And I just started crying. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so she came around, from her desk, and she gave me a big hug. And she's like, why are you crying? And I told her, I just moved here and I don't really know anybody, and just all the emotions. Plus I was pregnant. But I said, I don't have any health insurance. And so I just don't know how we're going to afford to pay for this. And she's like, oh, she said, if you're going to be a cash pay, she said, it's just a flat fee. It was $1,800 for everything, for the whole 9 months, although I was probably like 3 months at this point. I really put off going to the doctor for a long time. So that included the delivery, that included everything, $1,800. And when I was pregnant with Marin, and I did have health insurance, I had to pay my premium, the maternity coverage, for like 10 months before I could get pregnant. That alone was more than what she was going to cost. And so I felt much better about that. And then she said, and as far as a hospital, she said, just shop around. She told me the hospitals that she delivered at, and she said, tell them that you're, going to pay cash, and if you pay in full, they're going to, give you an even better deal. And I thought, wow. I felt so much better because when it was all said and done, I found out the hospital was $1,200 if I had a normal vaginal delivery with, no emergency, anything. And she was $1,800. So that made me feel a lot better. So, I was pregnant. It was happening whether I was ready or not. So, and that was fine. In California, we had disability when you were on maternity leave. I got paid while I was out. They gave you a certain number of weeks before, a certain number of weeks after. You could change it around if you wanted to, but Tennessee didn't have anything like that. So I went back and forth to California for as long as I could, and probably when I was about 7 months pregnant is when I made that last trip, which I guess it was time to start staying put, but it was hard. I really liked doing that, but it was time. So anyways, I was due Memorial Weekend, actually on Monday. Memorial Day was my due date, but my last appointment with my doctor was on Tuesday, so I went ahead and nothing happened on Monday, so I kept my regular appointment for Tuesday. My mom had come. She came a little bit early in case I went early, but she brought my Aunt Rachel, my mom's sister, so she's the mom of my cousins that introduced me and Steve. And Aunt Rachel had been diagnosed with cancer, and she was going through her chemo, and she has a daughter who didn't have children, and my mom was like, oh, you need to be there for the birth. You need to experience, you know, the miracle of childbirth. And so mom's like, is it okay if she comes in the room too? Because my mom was right there with me when I had Marin holding a leg. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So they went with me to my appointment. And my doctor was like, yeah, I don't think you should go home. I think we're going to have the baby today. And she was afraid if I got stuck in traffic. She's like, it could be any time. And the thought of you being stuck in traffic isn't good. So it was May 30th, 1995, and that was the day we were going to have a baby. So I called Steve, and he came down, and it went pretty fast. It went fast. So I didn't want to find out what we were having. We didn't find out the first time. Steve wanted to find out because he always wants everything perfect and ready to go. I didn't want to find out, and I got my way the first time. But this time, he wanted to know because to have the nursery ready and to see what we could reuse and what we already had, which actually, because we didn't know that Marin was going to be a girl, everything we had was pretty gender neutral. So I had a lot of recyclable stuff, and that was good. That newcomers group that I joined, the Key to the City, they actually had a baby shower for me, and that was so nice. I hardly knew these ladies. And the girls from my work had a shower for me, and that was such a surprise. I thought that for a second baby, I didn't know people would give you a shower, so I wasn't really expecting anything. But I heard that sometimes they call it a sprinkle instead of a shower. So that was different, but that was really nice. And another thing that I had put on my list that I needed to do, this club that I joined, I had asked one of the ladies if there was anybody Jewish in the group. I mean, it was a big group. I'm like, hey, is anybody Jewish in this group? And I remember so vividly, she's like, no, why? I'm like, why would you ask that? I'm like, oh, because my family's Jewish and I'm just looking for some resources. I felt like I wanted to find a synagogue for us, not realizing that there wasn't one anywhere nearby. Hadn't really thought about that. But when we came here, so many people were inviting us to go to church. I had never experienced that before. I mean, I went to church with friends of mine when I was growing up because it was fun, or I'd be at their house and they're like, hey, we're going to church. Do you want to come? And yeah. But this was on a whole different level. And so I was really feeling like, I think, this is something that I really need to do. But Maren and I had gone to visit a couple, and we did find one that we really liked, that we would eventually end up joining. But so anyways, had the baby, knew it was going to be a boy. We'd been trying to figure out names, of course, like everybody does. And even the first time, in the Jewish religion, you don't usually have a junior. You don't name, it's tradition. It's not like law or anything. You don't name after living relatives because you don't take somebody's name while they're still alive. So you name after relatives who have passed. And so when I was pregnant the first time, my grandmother, with her Russian accent, she was like, oh, I suppose if you have a boy, you'll name him after Grandpa, who was Harry Angus. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I'm like, no, Grandma. I mean, I don't know that I just kind of like went, oh, yeah. Thought, please be a girl, please be a girl. So this time around, actually before, I think my cousin had a boy, and his middle name was like Harrison or something. So, covered the H for Harry. I was not going to name a boy Harry Angus. But anyways, I had become a big hockey fan, being married to Steve. And my favorite player, whoops, I got this new lipstick I'm going to put on today. My favorite player, his name was Cam Neely. He was the captain of the Boston Bruins. And so I'm like, okay, Cam, I like Cam. And Steve was like, Cam sounds like a nickname. Like if he becomes a doctor or a businessman or something like that, and has his name on the door or a nameplate or something, he's like, he might want something that sounds a little bit more formal. And so Cameron, and I thought, well, I really liked it kind of short and sweet. Cameron was kind of long. He goes, but we can call him Cam. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give him that. So Cam was born May 30th, 1995. And while I was in the hospital, I had a kind of a hormonal mom moment. My mother-in-law, who was English and with her accent, and when she would say Cameron, she would actually pronounce like all three syllables. Cameron. Oh, look what I bought for Cameron. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's even longer. So I decided to pull the E out of the middle. And so nobody would ever spell his name right, which is okay. But he'll always be Cam to me. So I am done for today. And I'm going to go to work. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.